Hey, this week we'll be talking about early footage of Horizon multiplayer leaks, Hogwarts Legacy developer response to creators' awful views, everything on Xbox Developers Direct, impressions on Forspoken, Hi-Fi Rush, Dead Space Remake, all this and more on Season 7, Episode 4 of Press X to Start Gamers Digest. Woo, that was a lot. What's up, everyone? This is Press X Starts Gamers Digest, a video game podcast that condensed the most important gaming news from this past week into an hour-long meal for you, the listener, the viewer. We are live on YouTube right now, also every Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hello,
Except
all
for
of
Yom
you
Kippur.
people. Except for what?
Yom Kippur.
Is that today? No, is that
I don't think Young Kippur's today.
no?
No.
I'm just fucking with
Don't forget to support us by liking this video you're watching, by subscribing to the channel you're watching, and by hitting the notification bell. If you are listening, we greatly appreciate you leave us a review on Apple Podcast or the podcast service you are tuned in on. If you want to join in our conversations, you can by joining our Discord at pressx2start.com/discord. It's weird. Being live, I feel like I might be missing something, but I'm just gonna rock with it. I don't think I am. Before we jump into the gaming news, we have one announcement that is tomorrow. What was that? January 30th. You'll be able to get to see more of me, Sean, and Marcus surviving in the DMZ. So check out that video. It'll be premiering tomorrow. Check it. All right. With that being said,
Is
let us
tomorrow
jump.
our time or their time?
Our time. They'll
So
figure it out. Hey, look, all you have to do is just subscribe to the YouTube channel and you'll see it. It don't matter what time you're on. You could be on CP color people color CPT. Anyways,
careful now.
Avery. All right. I stopped myself. Avery, please save us. Give us the gaming news.
Cool beans. I want to point out that none of us were introduced when DJ did his whole little intro.
Yeah.
So, hey,
Oh
everyone.
my gosh.
Yeah,
my name
You're
is
right.
My name is
Hey,
Avery,
guys.
and I'm gonna jump straight into the gaming news. DJ
No.
moving forward.
They have to know who we are. They have to know who we are. I am your host, apparently, DJ, aka I think DJ Rosary said, aka Sexy Bad Choices, aka when I get my pro controller, I'm gonna be Amaro but black. Call me Amaro Blacked. I said it.
That's a video series. I am Sean MF
Wait. When you called yourself Amaro Black, that was fine. But then you had to say it again, and you ended the word black with blacked. There's something wrong with you.
I am Sean MF Ross.
What the MF stand for?
Ukulele Slim.
Oh, okay. I like that, actually. That's pretty cool. I'll write that down in about 2 years. I'll take it. Who else is here?
It's your boy Jordan, aka JXBot, aka The Defect.
Sir, you're not a defect. You are a good human being.
We go into what we've been playing. You understand why.
Oh, all right. You're a defect then. Fine.
And
All right.
Avery already said he's Avery.
Yes.
Yeah. So our first story is from VGC. This is from Andy Robinson. This popped off in the wee hours of the night. I want to say on a Friday. So this is probably actually one of the most, how would I say this, prescient we've ever been on the news story. So everything's coming in hot in the oven. Over 10 minutes of early Horizon multiplayer game footage leaks online. So essentially what happened was a 2020 alpha build of the Horizon multiplayer game, a game that has been rumored, never really formally announced, but we all fucking know it's being made, leaked online. A bunch of concept art came out with it. A 10 minutes of raw, clearly leaked footage dropped as well. It shows a very, I'm going to say, Dauntless-esque art style, which is very Fortnite-esque.
Yeah.
And from what I see,
I wonder if it intended to look like that, or that's just the alpha build.
Yeah, where it is in terms of shaders and stuff.
Like in terms of the character, like, okay, real quick, for the people who are listening to us and watching, Thank you. We're actually not going to show the content because we
Yeah,
got
no,
dinged before, so we're not even going to do that. But
yeah.
to get to what Avery is saying about the Dauntless look, the character models themselves look very smooth, low poly, like
Play.
cartoony. Yeah, like
I
illustrative. Oh, go ahead, Avery.
No, okay. So the game's original concept art doesn't have Horizon Zero Dawn's hyper realistic art. It has a
Mm,
very cartoony, very Fortnite-esque. I use Dauntless as an example because
yeah,
Dauntless is a very Fortnite-esque version of a Monster Hunter game. Well, Monster
Hmm.
Hunter itself uses a more photo-real aesthetic with its designs.
right.
So that's why I said that. That's what I made the Dauntless clip.
Yeah,
It showed. So we saw the concept art is a very Fortnite-esque, Dauntless-esque art style. Very simple, everything simplified. Then the character models that were leaked are very rough, but they all have a very cartoon aesthetic. But then the actual alpha footage, ignoring the UI changes, makes the game look a lot like Horizon. Like
yeah,
the way your character moves, the way your character interacts with the world, seems all very Horizon. So it put me in a very interesting place with this game.
man.
This is all 2020. This is all 2020 alpha footage. This game does not look like this now. If you have an issue with the way this game looks, once again, this is alpha footage. Let's not do another GTA bullshit where like someone
Yeah,
sees the GTA alpha and like, oh, this looks awful. It's like, no, man, it's the alpha. It's a leak. We This being 2020 alpha footage makes me more believing that this is a 2023 2024 game.
you think so? Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I'm in very like to get back to my original thought. I'm in a weird place with this game. I hate the Fortnite-esque aesthetic. I understand the marketing reason why they went from the Horizon Zero Dawn above and beyond greatest looking character model I've seen in a video game model to a more simple aesthetic. Fortnite has become the model for all free to play games. I'm generally assuming that this is going to be a free to play game unless there is going to be uh, anything, unless there's until I'm being told otherwise. I'm assuming this is a
Mhm.
free to play game. And then my biggest thing I don't like about this is that the concept art images they showed had like five characters on the screen, and none of them was using a ranged weapon. Everyone was using a variation of a sword, a spear, and I'm like, this doesn't interest me at all. If that makes
I
sense.
real quick, I will say as the just to go back to early last year when we all played Horizon, I was the one that was like, yeah, I'm gonna mainline the melee because that's something that I think need to be tested and not the range stuff. The fact that Avery just said that the concept art had all people using melee worries the hell out of me because the melee, I made it work, but it wasn't great. It like range is where you go with Horizon. So I really hope that they don't go this path. Like that is
I
so
mean,
scary.
they could work on it. It could be better.
It could be. You're right. It definitely could be. I mean, especially if this was from I guess if this is shown from 2 years ago, they definitely worked on it and blah 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 blah. But yeah, you gonna say something, Avery?
Yeah, I'm of the mindset that, especially with another bit of news, that there's like a studio is supporting Gorilla in its future games. That this isn't, especially with Gorilla's other workload, that primarily this is going to be their total vision. And I don't know how much crossover this game is going to have with Horizon, the mainline Horizon franchise, especially
Yeah.
with their clear direction of going in a more cartoony aesthetic, which means they can't just one for one just share resources. Things
Yeah.
have to change, things have to be altered. That being said, uh, I it's not that I don't have faith in them making the melee. It's not like I don't have your trepidation about it being melee. I just don't think melee when I think of Horizon.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it right there. Like when anyone thinks Horizon, when anyone thinks Aloy, they think with her with a bow, not her with her spear staff or whatever. Like that's like something you think very secondary, maybe even tertiary. But like I I'm watching this developer footage and beyond the fact that the characters look how they do and this is all alpha, I'm really actually excited for this because about last week Wild Hearts had their um premiere content ended up being just 5 minutes of them fighting like a weird alien tiger thing. Like I am in the market for a Monster Hunter type game, and I'm kind of saddened that Avery, you think that this is going to come out like 2023, 2024. I really hope that it's like, hey guys, guess what? This is actually a 2022 thing, especially because
it's 2023 right now.
huh. I
He's still
gotta
upset.
I gotta check out some things that I put dates on because I may have messed up. Yes, you are right. So for this to come out this year, I'm so
Don't worry.
excited.
The IRS will remind you soon.
All right. Man, Shireen's gonna remind me soon.
Yeah, you have a fucking account in your house.
But yeah, like this is really, really exciting to me. I really hope that a lot of this gets cleaned up for the final version. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's more so just wait and see. Like I think there's rumors about PlayStation was supposed to have a conference last year or a showcase last year, but they didn't because X, Y, and Z. So maybe we might get something between now and March. Maybe this might get shown. I don't know. Fingers crossed.
I think with
Cross
this
my
being
fingers.
a leak, that PlayStation, especially with things some of their main studios have talked about, is very much in a we no longer want to have long tail lives for all of our
Mhm.
game announcements. So like they're going to show this game when it's ready. So
Yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
thinking, especially with what I think PlayStation's 2023 is weird in that like it's got Spider-Man is pretty much the only thing first party that they've confirmed is coming out. There's a bunch of second party games that they've all got exclusive contracts out that are going to come out and pepper out the year. So the year is great, but this is me not being that's not true. I don't know if you do Last of Us Factions and then you do Horizon multiplayer in the same calendar year and or same seasonal group, if that makes sense.
Do
That's
you
a
believe
good
that there'll
point. That's a
be
good point.
overlap in terms of game design?
I don't think it's going to be overlap in terms of game
Yeah, I
design.
don't
I
think
just
so
think
either. Yeah.
I Horizon's biggest, how would I say this? The biggest thing people take away from Horizon is that it comes out, it's an amazing game, and then the greatest game of all time comes out the next day.
Oh, yeah.
So actually, it would make sense
Mm.
if PlayStation was like, yeah, we'll release Horizons multiplayer, and then a week later, yeah, we're gonna release Last of Us multiplayer.
I also
Just makes
think
sense.
multiplayer games very much need time to grow and develop and things like that. And if PlayStation releases two multiplayer games that are exclusive to the PlayStation platform, they will 100% cannibalize themselves.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Especially if both of them are going to be free to play.
Yeah, I think
Mm.
in this realm of seeing this footage and knowing that The Last of Us multiplayer exists, it's very possible that we get, Last of Us maybe by the end of March, and then we get Horizon October. So there is like months in between. But I don't know. I don't know. Seeing this, I'm just excited for this. And I want to play this.
I'm operating on the idea, and this is a pipe dream. This is a me taking a swing. This is not me hear anything. This is just me making an observation. I think if I was PlayStation and we've been secretly working on a Last of Us multiplayer game, the smartest marketing we could do for that game is not a long pronounced sequence for that game, but to release it in tail with the ending of our HBO show that suddenly turned our game into a massive, even more of a success than it actually is. Like I said,
That's
it's a
good
pipe
point.
dream. It probably won't happen, but if I was a marketing guy at PlayStation, that would have been my game plan and why we have been relatively quiet about it.
Because that would give people somewhere to go to get all their Last of Us energy out after the season finale. Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense.
Especially if it's free to play. But we'll see if it's free to play.
Sean and Jordan, what's your thoughts on the Horizon
Um,
multiplayer stuff?
I'm gonna check it out. I
Yeah.
love Horizon.
Okay.
I'm gonna be
Okay.
Horizoned out by the time it comes out because I got Call of the Mountain to play next month.
Oh yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Sir is gonna be in the mountains with his VR too. Jordan, you played Horizon, right?
A little bit of it, but I
Oh,
don't have
okay.
any strong opinions on the multiplayer. I am interested in seeing what type of feedback loop they implement into that game.
Hmm.
Like, what is the motivating factor of a multiplayer game coming from the Horizon universe?
Yeah.
I mean, I know the gameplay is good. I had a fun time when I played. I just didn't finish it. But
Yeah.
yeah, well, we'll see what this looks like. And I think Gorilla has it in them to make a long-standing multiplayer experience.
Well,
But surrounded by good gameplay, of course.
yeah. I mean, that's if this is actually Gorilla and not the support studio. I
Hmm.
think another scary thing, just before we jump to the next news story, Avery mentioned that this could be free to play. I think, oh, I feel like free to play would probably be the best option. I just don't know if it would be a good option for Horizon. I think PlayStation, I guess this could be the one. Like PlayStation would need a proven game that is first party, multiplayer, free to play that people are like, "Oh yeah, okay. This is not going to be a complete cash grab. Like this is cool." But maybe this might be their first. So, you never
Well,
That's
know.
my question to like the core gameplay loop, which every multiplayer game seemingly has. Like, what would that look like?
Yeah.
I mean,
Probably Monster Hunter.
Dauntless has already shown what you can do for a multiplayer, free-to-play Monster Hunter.
That's
I'm
true.
assuming it's going to operate in that same loop. That's me just making an assumption.
Hmm.
My only basis on it being free-to-play is that we now exist in a world where selling a multiplayer suite is feast or famine. You either already have an inbuilt audience who wants to buy it regardless of Call of Duty, or you have an entire audience that just wants to refuse to pay money for a video game. So it sort of has to be free to play. Like in terms of, I don't think in memory outside of Call of Duty, I cannot tell you a successful multiplayer focused uh box game that sells at a premium cost.
So a game that's not free to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I think the
Battlefield probably was the closest thing, and they threw that away.
Battlefield,
I don't think
Battlefield,
it was
all
successful though.
Battlefield A wasn't not as successful as it should have been, and B, it already has the Call of Duty ass cachet of this is the umpteenth Battlefield game.
Yeah.
Its audience is going to spend money for it.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about 2042 though. Just Battlefield in general before that.
Yeah, Bad Company 1, 2, 3, and
Yeah, that was
4.
probably the next closest thing.
That's just what I'm saying. But yeah,
Yeah, I
we
don't know. I
yeah,
don't know.
we exist in a world where if you want to have a multiplayer product and it's unless this is built with a strong single player component, that's sort of like a Monster Hunter. Then I could totally see them selling it. But then, are we operating on the idea this is a PlayStation that wants to sell everything that they consider premium for $70, or this is a PlayStation who's going to actually play with the price scale?
Hmm. 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 I don't know.
Okay. Our next story is from IGN. This is from Luke Winky. Hogwarts Legacy developer respond to controversy around creators' anti-transgender views. So Hogwarts Legacy is imminent. It's a game that is incredibly hyped. Like regardless of what I don't want to say echo chamber because echo chamber implies sort of a badness to it. Well, regardless of the echo chamber of sort more liberal voices in the internet, this game is a juggernaut in terms of popularity. People underestimate how popular of a brand Harry Potter as an IP is, especially divorced from the views of its creator. So the Hogwarts Legacy devs, who I trust are good and upstanding people, have been having to fight uphill because their work is being attached to an IP that has been soiled by its creator. And for a long time, every journalist worth their salt has been trying to get them to make a crack about how they feel about this, and for the most part, they've remained relatively quiet outside of some minor pushback, like we're allowing trans representation in the game up until a point. I don't think this is going to be a game that's going to be smart enough to recognize that your character is trans. I think it's just going to be a game that's smart enough to recognize there's a binary switch that we can flip in regards to what pronouns people carry to you and not how that affects anything else.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Let's see. There was a game I played recently. It wasn't Saints Row, but in terms of gender representation in video games and being able to express the flexibility in a person's ability to express themselves with their avatar has expanded a pretty good amount so far this generation. Not just in terms of like voice modification, but also, body type and, as Avery said, pronoun usage. So we'll see if they address that in the game itself.
Yeah, okay. So this is a dumb aside, but this is something I've always hated about creative characters and all and things like that. This representation in terms of people, I've always hated this aspect of creative characters, in that most creative characters do not do the due diligence or goodwill to actually make your actual choices really matter in regards to how a narrative and how a thing breaks down. So, like when we're talking about trans options in games, I think plenty of games have options of like I can my pronouns and things like that. All things manipulable, but few. I can't think of a game off the top of my head where I'm picking a trans character and the game recognizes that this character is trans. The only one I can remember is a pretty much South Park: The Fractured Butthole, and that was only because of I think it was only because they wanted to tell a joke with it.
A joke, yeah.
Yeah, that and what was it? If you were a darker skinned character, is more difficult, which is the most accurate difficulty scale in human history.
Yeah, yeah. I got to play them in the game. Morgan Freeman could suck it, but no. So he won't fight you if you're dark skinned.
What? That's the thing. Wow, that's hilarious.
Like when they made that joke about the game being harder, if you're a character of dark skin, outside of like the thing with the cops at one point, they don't really reference it up until like the game's very end, where like Morgan Freeman just straight up won't fight you if you're dark skinned. So, but you can change your character's appearance at any time. But that's not. But yeah. So back to the Hogwarts Legacy, the team has been have been reckoned with the J.K. Rowling and their things. Ultimately, what they came out with was we cannot talk about J.K. Rowling PR statement, which is probably based around all of the contracts that this woman has with the Harry Potter IP. So we're just going to give you I'm going to read the statement. I think for us, there are challenges in every game we've worked on. This game has been no different. When we bumped into those challenges, we went back and focused on the stuff that we really care about. We know our fans fell in love with the Wizarding World, and we believe they fell in love with it for the right reasons. We know that a diverse audience for us, we know that's a diverse audience. For us, it's making sure that audience who always dreamed of having this game had the opportunity to feel welcomed back. That they have a home here and it's a good place to tell their story. So this is their statement about all of the JK-ness and how it pertains to the studio, which is a non-statement.
Yeah, but I think they're also they can't really comment.
No.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that they're like unable to really say anything just because of contracts and shit.
Yeah.
But like, it kind of is what it is when that's literally your pipeline of money or your pipeline of funding. So like it just sucks. It sucks. But
I said as much yesterday. Money.
What? Money?
Yes, as far as making statements and shit.
Not.
Hey.
Oh.
I didn't realize the game comes out next week.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Like I do appreciate them, doing as much as they can to have trans representation in the game and, reassuring those people who are trans, who like Harry Potter, like, hey, look, we understand how much J.K. Rowling is just a complete idiot, but we're still making the Harry Potter.
Idiot implies that there isn't any willful malice in this. She's an awful person.
An awful person, yes. Thank you for correcting me. An awful person. But we are making this game for you and all the other Harry Potter fans. And I think that's what a lot of people are focusing on. But it does just suck that everyone is a lot of people are caught in a hard place between wanting to support the Harry Potter game of their dreams and also supporting this very, very awful person. So it just sucks. It really just sucks.
Yeah. So one of the reasons I brought the story here is just to discuss how we, as a really, really small bucket in the video game industry, is going to handle this game. As I am, as far as I can tell, as no one has corrected me in this, probably the biggest Harry Potter fan on this podcast. I was super excited for this game from the outset, but I've wrestled with how I personally, as someone with morals and who wants to not be a hypocrite would deal with this. And my game plan is I'm going to play this game because this is the Harry Potter game I've always wanted to play. And no amount of people telling me that the IP is bad, it's always been bad, and X, Y, and Z is going to really change how my feelings on the IP. At this point I've gotten pretty good at divorcing art from the artist.
Yeah.
So like, not unless J.K. Rowling out and out says, "Oh, I put this in the story X because of this awful reason," nothing's going to change how I feel about this work. So I'm super excited for this game. That being said, spending any amount of money on this game will get back to her. Like, there's no, and she is actively spending her nearly billions at this point on anti-trans legislation and empowering those who championing that. So my game plan is this is going to be the first game in a while I'm not going to buy digitally. I'm going to not buy it at launch, and I'm going to wait a couple days, and I'm just going to walk to a GameStop and say, I'm going to buy this game used.
That's a good idea, actually. Yeah.
Because with the big fight that used games have always had at GameStop is that once GameStop makes that initial sale and the game gets its used copy back, the original creators do not get any of that money. So it allows me to play that game. The other thing I could have done, which I really don't like it because it's not 1 for 1, is I'm gonna spend $70 on this fucking video game. I'm also going to spend $70 in donations to a trans charity of a trans charity in support. I don't necessarily like that game plan because it doesn't really. I don't know marginally what's going to be the split the difference between how much money would require to offset the damage of paying J.K. Rowling, and that's just
yeah.
Like, I mean, it moves it in the right direction, and like I'm pretty sure there will be opportunity on our podcast to name some reputable not charities, but focus organizations. Yeah, organizations that ensure the quality of living for our trans brothers and sisters.
Yeah, I was actually planning on donating to a trans charity once I buy the game to actually just offset it. But Avery, you make a good point about like exactly how much would that equal out to, and I do really like the idea of just buying it used because that's a really good way.
The only issue with buying it used, and this is the devil's advocate, is yes, JK is not getting any money. Also, the creative team who made this game isn't getting any money.
That's a good point too. Yeah, but yeah, like I do plan on playing this. Like I was a Harry Potter fan in terms of, oh, that's cool. The magic school, that's a cool thing. Shireen, my wife, actually really like made me a Harry Potter fan. Like I didn't realize how big of a Harry Potter fan she was. She audio read the books, she watched the movies multiple times. She knows like all the little different things and knickknacks and stuff. And
I saw maybe like the 3rd or 4th movie. That was it.
Like we've even gone to Disney World and Universal Studios and went to the Harry Potter thing. We didn't get the wands. We should have. We were just being cheap at the time. Yeah,
bro.
Okay,
but
so I'm gonna interrupt this part of the story because this is some actually not even interesting, some incredibly sad breaking news. Oh, no. So, actress Annie Wershing, who played Tess in The Last of Us, has sadly passed away from cancer at age 45.
Whoa! Oh no, that's terrible.
It's horrible.
Oh man,
pour one out for Tess.
That's rough, man. That sucks.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I'm sorry for derailing the rest of this Harry Potter talk. Everyone, speak your minds so we can, I guess, move on. But yeah, my bad.
Yeah. I'll try the game eventually. I'll wait for the reviews.
Yeah. And then Jordan?
Same. Alicia's the same way, Donald, in terms of Harry Potter. Yeah. She's super excited for it, and I was gonna buy it physically because she wants to have her own profile and play it on little thing. That's why I have Game Pass. I got Game Pass on PC, so she can play it behind me. But I am gonna let it breathe a little bit, and
Yeah.
buy used. It's not imperative. There's so many games coming out in the next few months. I'll be fine.
That's true.
You know.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably talk to Shireen about doing that as well. And
Mhm.
I, but it does get into the conversation of like, is it worth support? I mean, the game's going to
Mm.
be popular. Everyone's going to buy the game. So
You're gonna
just,
see it all over
you
the
know,
place. So.
yeah. So us not giving the money directly, I don't know. That just gets into a whole conversation.
It's a conversation with your need. Everyone needs to have in regards to their ethics, morality, and hypocrisy. That being said, no one should be judged. And
Right.
the echo chamber that I'm in on the internet is everyone is judging you if you have any interest in this game. So
Yeah.
no one should be feel judged for liking a thing because of it's a thing. Now, if you like if you like a thing because of J.K. Rowling in particular,
Yeah,
then
because
you
you're
go
like,
fuck
oh
yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're
That's
like, oh
obviously an
yeah,
issue.
J.K. Rollins B's and E's, and yeah.
But if you were a
Right.
but if you were a 10-year-old kid reading Harry Potter
Right.
on the playground, it became it became your Lord of the Rings, the most magical and impactful thing to your in your formative years.
Element.
There is no reason to be ashamed of wanting to play this game.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
You don't know how extreme them kids get, man. On the playground, they may be judging each other. No joke.
Oh yeah. Oh, kids always judge each other. I mean, that's just.
I was literally talking about myself reading Harry Potter.
Yeah. I figured that.
No, I
Yeah.
hear you. I'm just talking about in the space of social media and all that shit nowadays.
Yeah.
I also
It's
think
scary.
children aren't reading books on playgrounds anymore.
Yeah.
As you.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I think that died out a long time ago.
They're basically
But
playing Beyblade.
hey,
No, they're
hey,
not. They're not that
hey.
Yeah,
You lucky I don't got
I don't
my
think I'll be getting it.
cool.
I don't think I'll be getting it right away because Like a Dragon Ishin comes out 11 days later, and then the PSVR comes out the day after that. So
Oof.
Mhm.
Oof. Yeah, you're gonna be busy. You're gonna be busy.
yeah,
But here's what you can be, listener/viewer. You can be busy too by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and hit that notification bell because we need your support. If
shameless.
you are listening, we would greatly appreciate you leaving us a review or not or and tell your friends about the podcast because it's helpful, It's a thing that you can do to help us and will help you by making more and better content. Obviously. If you want to join our conversation, you can by joining our Discord at pressx2start.com/Discord. And that will take you to the link directly to our Discord. Yes, it will do that because the power of the internet. After you do those things, we would greatly appreciate it. Something like that. But we're always thankful. We're always appreciative. It's just part of our DNA. So, again, thank you. And I think we can get back into the podcast. So, hi, it's me again. So the next thing we're going to talk about, because it's a special thing, everything we saw at Xbox Big Developer Direct. Jordan, take it away.
Yeah. So I mean, this is already starting off to be a pretty weird year for Xbox, but nonetheless exciting. At least compared to last year. If you didn't notice, Xbox didn't have jack shit last year, except for a couple games being Pentiment and a few Game Pass exclusives like High on Life. But what Xbox has teased in the past was having a Nintendo/PlayStation Direct esque show. Xbox was still committed to the Summer Games Fest, and they were muted or not muted. They were not participating at all in terms of new releases during the Game Awards show. So there were many eyes on this Developer Direct, and I believe it delivered. As an owner of an Xbox, we're just looking for why do I have this? I feel like saw a snake. Why are we here? Just to suffer. So it's like seeing this direct, it feels as if Xbox is finally starting to get on track in delivering games that are not associated. Well, except for one, that are not as much associated with the core cadre. Minecraft Legends, of course, with the Mahjong purchase back like 4 years ago. That's going to be coming out as like a survival PvP type game. Forza Motorsport is, based on what I can tell as a racing game fan, like it's going to be the true next gen game And as in when I say true next gen, not to say that Gran Turismo was not a beautiful looking game, or Casio, or um, WRC, or F1, which are the main racing games. Forza Motorsport is a game that's going to be exclusive to ninth. Or is this? This is the ninth generation consoles, like Xbox, like this generation of consoles. Like there's no backwards compatibility associated with that game. But the two games that I feel had stood out the most was Redfall and a shadow drop out of nowhere from Tango Games being Hi-Fi Rush.
Right. I think we could talk about Redfall first.
Sure. I mean, I was excited after watching this trailer. More information of the game started to leak in the last couple weeks in terms of what style it was going to be. They said it was leaning more towards Far Cry. Me and Far Cry has been in a bit of a falling out, per se. Even though I enjoyed Far Cry 6, it just felt very stale in terms of its game design. And we have another Far Cry story coming up. But looking at their trailer, I think Arcane is the studio that's going to help flesh out a fairly large world. With like, and actually, when I marinated on it a little bit, I still wonder whether or not it's going to keep me engaged too, because I see that each area has like a boss or a mini boss. You have character trees, like you can build out like each unique character class. Like there's a recon class, assassination class, tech class, and I am digging the design of
Yeah.
Redfall. I played a little bit of Deathloop. I thought the gun gameplay was excellent, and I played Dishonored 2, which I played on a PC. And if they're able to implement that same game, like the same core movability in terms of gunplay, I think we have a very exciting game coming out from Bethesda right now, being Redfall.
Yeah. I also watched this, and I thought it was a very interesting showing of the gameplay. I think I, as a person who wasn't that interested in Redfall to begin with, I think what they showed was really good. I
Hmm.
don't think it did enough for me to be like, "Oh, that's
I want to
actually
get this.
like." Yeah, like, even if I had an Xbox to be like, "Oh, like, I'd wanna get that." Like, I think, well, I should say, 1, because, "Hi, my name is DJ, AKA I don't do horror games." And when the character walked into the house and it was pitch black
Hmm.
and he had a flashlight, I was like, "I actually won't be doing that. I'll just be from outside throwing Molotov cocktails into the house
We'll
and
see if
seeing
that
what
works.
happens." Because no, like, that's not part of my being. I'm not gonna go into a house and play Prey. No,
In other
not the
words,
game, but
folks,
actual Prey.
don't look to DJ for any help in the apocalypse.
No, you better be able to
And
run.
what
Like,
what what gave me pause with the Far Cry comparisons before is like and that's like this open world games in general. Like you wanted to make sure that it has enough depth to make it impactful going forward instead of you doing the same thing over and over again. And that's still my question to this game, because
yeah,
that's
and
kind of what Far Cry has fallen into. And I don't know, like they are giving you the ability to approach each situation differently.
right,
Either want to be stealth or going loud, like Far Cry
exactly.
was. But I just want to know how unique it's going to be, because Deathloop has some pretty unique situations built
Well,
within that game. Yeah.
that is my big fear with this game, and why
Hmm.
it went from one of my most anticipated games that of all from all entire Xbox entire platform to a game where I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm not sure this game is going to be good. And my thing, and I didn't watch the direct, but
Hmm.
my thing is that I played every Arcane game, like straight up there. My in the entire Bethesda oeuvre, it was Emma Machine Games who were leading, keeping me invested in that publisher. Uh, they they made a game. The strength of their games is in its your ability to take every solution having met multiple paths to get to, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
oh, I need to get into this room. I could just shoot everyone and walk in. I could stealth my way in, or the third option of me manipulating characters and the way the environment and getting to there from a different way. Like I've always really liked that about their game style.
But there's an element of that in the gameplay that they showed. I just know how deep it's going to be as
Well,
compared
that's my
to
thing.
Deathloop.
That's my thing. Because in like a game like Prey, because this is the studio that made Prey, where like
Prey's great.
it was like it was a lot of depth. But this is an open world game. I am not confident that they'll be able to give every situation that depth, and that's and then my big thing is that does anyone remember Wolfenstein Youngblood?
Yeah, like did this studio work
Arcane?
on Wolfenstein?
Arcane? Like I can't tell you which Arcane worked on it, whether it was Arcane Leon or Arcane Austin. I'm assuming it's Arcane Austin because Leon was working on Deathloop at the time, but that game sounded a lot like what Deathloop is. I'm not sorry, Deathloop is. Redfall is. And I was not a fan of that game, so I'm just very trepidatious about what this game is going to be. Like
Yeah, I mean, that's all valid to have those worries. I mean, I think it is going to be a thing of, you know, once the game drops and to see exactly what the split is between story and open world and how that all works. I think something they mentioned was that the procedurally generated parts are the like houses when you go into them, and they all have a different layout and so on and so forth.
The underworld too, like the vampire realm, like for like once I think it's like once you beat the game, then you're gonna have like the uber vampires you have to hunt down over and over again for special abilities, and like that is procedurally generated. Like that's the end loop for said game.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So what's the next game?
Hi-Fi Rush. This was
certified
this game came out of nowhere. And literally, it was announced during that game. Though there were some whispers and leaks that Tango Game was coming out with some
it was leaked to like at least 3 to 4 days beforehand.
And but there wasn't any concrete like about what it was. Like people knew it was going to be something different, something stylized. There were some rumors that it was going to be an online game, but this game turned out to be different than what Xbox has produced in the past in terms of a action adventure beat 'em up anime stylized game, music motivated game, like it's like fully coolly Jet Set Radio. Those are comparisons when I would those are the pieces of media I would use to articulate what this game is. I can go into a deeper conversation about how I'm enjoying it so far, but in terms of where this game fits into what Xbox is trying to be going forward, there was a question of like how does Xbox perform in specifically Japan? Like what does Xbox need to do to break out of its core, its three kings, Forza, Gears, and Halo. And I hope that Tango Gameworks continues to have the flexibility and autonomy to make games that they would like to make. I mean, like there's a double-edged sword in terms of Xbox and Matt Booty's hand-offness and the quality of game development. Like there's two hands off. They got to find a good middle point. Right. But this game was actually being developed way before the Bethesda purchase too, so you can't really attribute it solely to Microsoft. That's to say that Microsoft did, what continue to provide them the resources they need to finish it. And yeah, dropping it through a direct like that was a flex right there. I mean, it wasn't a big flex. It wasn't like it was saying that Xbox is like they're trying their best to make a compelling statement, and that's the type of mood that's going to bring in more interest and retain those that are currently bought in, like myself.
Yeah. Like this is a very good and compelling reason to have Game Pass. So yeah, it's a total win for them, and the fact that the game released and it's actually doing really well. Everyone loves it. Everyone is just so hyped over this game and talking about it. Like it did exactly what it needed to do.
My hype's not as strong. So put it out there. You'll see in my review. I am enjoying it, but no, it is a very fun experience, regardless.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Let's jump out of that. All right.
There's Elder Scrolls, and also Elder Scrolls still here, still running around. Yay, knights and magic. Actually, I've seen there's people that are into the Elder Scrolls Online, and they're like, in the rafters, with their vuvuzelas and plastic things. Like they're excited about this new update to Elder Scrolls Online. So
I will say
they're satiated.
Yeah, I'll say props to ESO because that was something I think I think when that was developed, I was still testing at Bethesda, and I was like, "Oh, they're gonna make it online. Okay, cool. Hey, good luck to them." And it's still going. Like,
Hmm.
good job then. Good job then.
Mhm.
All right, Avery, what's the next story? Hi,
What's the next story?
hi, Avery.
No.
Okay.
We kept Far Cry.
Oh, we
Sorry.
No,
skipping it?
no, we're skipping.
Oh, skipping. Oh, okay. I didn't see it. Okay. All
Okay,
right, we're
okay,
done.
okay. All right, that's it. Well, that has been the gaming news. So let us jump into our impressions on a few games. Let's start with Hi-Fi Rush since Jordan was already talking about it. Jordan, what's your take on Hi-Fi Rush?
Hi-Fi Rush is very fun. Um,
Very fun or fine?
very fun. It's a
Oh, okay.
very fun game.
Gotcha.
Um, in terms of action adventure beat 'em ups, it took some getting used to because it is your performance is very much so linked to your ability to stay on beat.
Okay.
It take place in this fantastical futuristic world where
That's gonna be hard for
I
some people, man.
hey man, I thought I could dance and I'm like, oh yeah, neat the pause. But we'll get into what assists they have for those that may have issues with staying on beat, like myself. I found out. But it does take place in this future tech world where I think humans are turned into robots. Like the story's slowly starting to unravel, but um, you're a human that signed up to be converted into a piece of machinery for some reason that has not been explained yet.
Okay.
But it turns out your iPod got stuck in the machine, and your body has been infused with your iPod, to which you're now considered a defect.
Hmm.
And
Oh, I see. Hence your
you,
AKA, you're a defect.
yeah, that's why you're defect. And because of your character's, his name is Kai. Defect, like he's now a rebel, within this new world, trying to Kai Chai, yeah, like
Mm,
he like you're a rebel within this world, and you partner up with this one woman named Peppermint, and there's other characters that are slowly coming in, but I said in the chat, it's slowly opening up in terms of what I can do. About 4 hours in, because at first I was like, there's no parry. God, sorry y'all, there's no parry. But then there was a story beat to which now you can parry, and I'm like, oh
okay.
wow, that would have been cool a couple hours ago, but here we
Right.
are. The dodge is still cool.
Okay.
Um, there's not too many combos to work with.
Yeah.
And in terms of like a clear transition, like I'm looking on like as the game continues to have engagement, there's more videos to reference in terms of chaining combos because there is ability to chain combos. You can call in your friends for assist. Peppermint has a range assist to which you can break shields and shoot enemies. But like of course, similar to Devil May Cry, similar to Bayonetta, once you finish each engagement, you have a ranking associated with it.
Yeah.
In terms of how much time it took you, how were you on beat? And my beat is a cool 50%. I'm like hitting all the half notes here, and damage dealt and what have you. But yeah, the music is very good. If you're a fan of alternative rock, like that's why I say Fully Cooley. Like if you like Fully
Yeah.
Cooley, you like the music of Fully Cooley, this will be your no pun intended jam. In terms of performance, I am playing on the Xbox Series X, 4K, 60 frames per second. What I am noticing, and this is the thing that can happen with cross-gen type games, the cutscenes will be at a reduced frame rate
Yeah.
because that's just
Oh.
how it is, and
Yeah.
it's not murderous. Like when you go into a cutscene, it like the frame it slows down. You're in a cutscene now, but once you transition out of it, you're back to your 60. There's no performance issues there. In terms of combat, at no point so far I have not felt overwhelmed by the enemies. There's a pretty good variety of enemies and how you would approach them. You have your Hulk enemies, you have your speed enemies, you have your little floating gun turn enemies you have to deal with, and there are methods to get out of a sticky situation. But I do find myself battling with the camera more often than not
Oh,
nowadays.
that's not fun.
Like there isn't a clear way to reset the camera, and sometimes the enemy will like just hop into it if I'm at a certain plane like trying to reposition myself, and there isn't necessarily a lock on either. You know, like some games has you like select and lock on between, like in terms of those action adventure beat 'em ups, you can lock on the enemies, and like no, you're kind of just hitting towards the enemy.
Yeah.
If you don't like that, you might find some instances frustrating. But yeah, I think about 5 hours in, and I said there wasn't a block, but I said it wasn't a parry. So we'll see if there's a block coming up, and I think there's 3, 4 more people I had to meet up with, but when you get when you start chaining your combos with your friendly assists,
Yeah.
then you really start having fun. Then like the game jumps out at you, and the audio design is great, and yeah, it's a fun game, and it's kind of weird because on them Twitter Spaces for some reason, Sunset Overdrive was having a weird comeback on my Twitter feed. Everyone's talking about Sunset Overdrive. I love Sunset Overdrive, but it was ironic that was like in the conversation these last couple of weeks, and then Microsoft dropped this. So I like this coming from Microsoft or any publisher, but yeah, this is some good stuff here.
I will tell you, as a person who has a PlayStation but watches Xbox content stuff, to see them first do Sunset Overdrive, I'm like, damn, that'd be a game that I like. Comes to Xbox. And now Hi-Fi Rush, I'm like, damn, that'd be a game that I like. Comes to Xbox. I'm like, no, motherfuckers, like, what do you stop? So yeah, I mean that's really awesome that like that game is doing so well. How are you enjoying the actual story of it?
The story's fun. I mean, like
Okay.
I'm not gonna like have a dialogue debate.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's very subjective in terms of what I consider good or bad dialogue, but it is funny. Like it is very very funny. This game, it's upbeat, which has to be with it. Even though there's a more sinister plot going on, it is the way Kai works with Peppermint and how they play off each other. There's a little cat. Actually, this kind of goes into the assist. The cat has like a little light that beep that tells you the timing.
Like Navi.
Yeah, like the cat's called 808 or whatever. But it's a fun game.
Okay,
It's a fun
that's
game.
All right.
And also, you have a meter you can put on your screen, but I took that off. That would help me, but a meter, like there's a giant red bar that can be used for your timing. I took that out the way because I want to appreciate what I'm seeing. It's a big red and blue bar that blares at me, and if I had it on there, I'd probably be doing better. But I just want to get better naturally.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. Sounds like you're having a good time with that. Sean, what you been playing? What you been Forspoken in? There you go. There you go.
This game is rough. The bones of a good game are there. I don't love it, but I am enjoying it.
Hey, that's good. Hey, that works.
So I mean, it is what it is.
And just to make it clear, you've beaten the game.
Yeah, I beat the game yesterday, and now I'm just kind of grinding through to get the platinum because
the platinum is unobtainable.
It's unobtainable.
Yeah, one of the challenges is bugged, and you can't get it, so you can't get the challenge trophy.
I see people who got the platinum already.
Well, according to all the trophy lists I looked at, they all said this trophy is bugged.
I mean, I'm on PSN profiles, and I see like people in the 100% club already, but that's neither here nor there. I think Avery was saying I think a lot of people are just bandwagoning the hate for the game. It is not as bad as people say. Granted, it does need work, as I said earlier. It's fine. It's fine. I would say wait for a sale if you're interested. I wouldn't buy it full price necessarily. But yeah, had a little interesting twist.
Yeah, I'm not in a weird place with this. And in terms of the people like bad mouthing the game, I do definitely think it is a lot of people jumping on the algorithm in terms of, oh, Forspoken's out. That's the first AAA game. So let me put out some content for it. And of course, the content is I don't like this game.
I don't think it's that, because I think for the most part, the content algorithm is people who are playing the game and they're making their fucking like voices. It's more like someone shares a viral clip of this game, and every mention of this game is in reference to this clip without any context. Does that make sense?
I have not seen that. Like my YouTube is just filled of like.
Well, like that's
people.
games. Yeah, that's I like because my thing
Yeah,
is,
when I talk about when I'm talking about algorithm, I'm talking about like me, the stuff, the thumbnails that I'm seeing on my YouTube is just like, oh,
and when
this
I,
is bad. Watch me play a bad game. And it's just like,
yeah,
all right,
yeah, and I'm talking about before the game came out.
Yeah.
The bandwagon about its dialogue and things had already begun. So
oh,
that's just
okay, specifically that.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah,
So like
okay,
that's just fitting into like feeding into like other things and some of the things that. But yeah,
yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. In terms of the dialogue, I the stuff that I've heard has mostly been negative. I think I've heard one positive review from What's Good Games.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, everyone has been pretty negative on this game, which really sucks because we don't get a lot of games where the main character is a black woman. And like there's also I haven't played the game, so I don't really know exactly how this actually, Sean, you can answer to this.
What?
There's a narrative of like the angry black woman is like very
No.
apparent in this game and like
No.
okay.
No, not at all. This character could have been a fucking alien for all. Her race does not play into the narrative whatsoever, and unless they're talking about no, there's no angry.
Sean has suddenly spoiled this game.
Huh? How?
Keep going.
I'm just trying to think. There's no at no point where she comes off as an angry black woman. She's just a cursing teenager.
Okay.
No, no, there's no angry black woman. That's somebody clickbaiting.
There's either
Okay.
clickbaiting or there's people inferring their own feelings.
Projecting.
Yes, there we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. At no point would you ever say, "Ah, she's making black women look bad." Like, nah, there's never a point where that comes into play in the game.
Okay. Okay. That's cool.
Mm-mm.
And
I
then
mean, I
what
saw
did you
a couple
think?
stuff regarding her background, right? She was like in jail or
Yeah, but I mean,
Going to jail or something?
she had a court case. I mean, that's at the beginning of the game, so I mean, it's not really a
okay.
spoiler.
Yeah.
She's just a young teen, just in trouble, and I think they've
Mhm.
said that in the marketing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. That part is well known.
that's
Um
something that somebody took something and ran with, basically. But go ahead,
mhm.
Avery probably.
So Avery, you
Yeah,
play this game or you
yeah.
didn't?
I
Oh,
just
okay.
I didn't put it on there because Sean was going to talk about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're gonna talk
I
about it.
played this
Okay.
game. I am at its end. I am. Uh, this game is okay. It is not as bad as people say it is. However, there is nothing good that stands out in I say it like this: any diamond in the rough in terms of systems,
Mm-hmm.
characters, world is usually overwritten by what I generally find as an unappealing experience. I think that the game looks bad. I think its world design of its open world is interesting, but I think every time you look at a character model, it looks like a PS3 character model. It moves like a PS3 character model.
Yeah, the facial animations are very, very rough,
Interesting.
and it probably suffered from leadership or whoever, Tabata, whoever was on the team, as they said, for better or worse. This just went through a few iterations, and I think they just finally just pushed it out. Like, we got to put something out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I think it's a
The,
symptom of this game because I think we had news something or we heard news about like this game has been restarted a few times. Right? Someone mentioned about it. Anyways, I think it's a thing of we look at the time that it took to develop this game, and
mhm.
that time wasn't used to develop one game. It was a game. It started over. A game. It started over. So this probably needed another maybe months to a year to work out its kinks and be a better game. But they didn't give it the time. So
Avery probably
sucks.
begs to differ.
No, I haven't heard. I saw that tweet, but I have in no way I've seen no concrete information to verify it beyond that tweet.
Yeah.
So I'm not going off of it as like my understanding of this game. That tweet makes sense to a certain extent, but like
Yeah.
I think they have a complete game. It's just not cooked. I think
Right. Yeah. Right.
combat is bad. Like, I think the combat in this game is bad. I think it's. I think an all like how do I say this? You start off like I thought based on you start off with only one power, the rock power, and then the game spends no fuck it yeah you start with this one power, the rock power, and as a third person shooter, it's just not great.
Real quick, you guys can't see it, but I hate YouTube ads. I just hate. I had
I
gameplay up,
just
and
caught
the
it.
ad just.
But
You saw, yeah.
Yeah,
no,
I mean,
Avery is right. It is rough until you get your second power.
Yeah, it gets better when you get to the second power, but you spend like the first if you play the way they want you to play, like 10 hours with just the rock power, and it's just like not great. And then the parkour is just parkour. The parkour is bad as well.
Really?
Yeah, the parkour
is that Avery?
I think the parkour is bad.
Y'all remember when I was ragging on it and like how I hate the mobility? Y'all were like, yeah,
I don't
it's
mind
it's not great.
It just it sucks until you open up more mobility options.
I think every aspect of its parkour is not good. I think the you want to run at full speed in this game, but the world in its design is not, and its actual parkour options don't flow into each other correctly. Okay. This is like, oh, here's a rock face that's only slightly above the like ground. Okay, my character's going to run up it. My momentum immediately slows. Or I've run off a cliff. Let me use my my zip move. It's like, that's also like it. Every aspect of the parkour needs to flow into each other. And the big issue I have with the parkour is that Freya as a character doesn't move well.
Nope.
At even walking speed. And like you do a lot of walking in this game, which is really dumb. I really hate any game that gives you movement abilities and then takes them away from you the minute you're in a quote unquote NPC environment. Yeah, so like you're just walking around, and then she has one of the dumbest running animations I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's dumb because it's based on her parkour animation, which is fine. But her base running is her literally hopping on one leg at a time. And it's like this does not look good.
Oh yeah.
I think I like fantasy, and I think the idea of this game's central villains and the plot that it's built around that is cool and interesting, but the world itself doesn't feel like it's connected to that plot in any way, shape, or form. And it's like there's a disconnect with all of that and how this world works. I just find incredibly disappointing. Yeah. So like, this is a game that I generally find okay. Like, it's not like this isn't the worst game I've ever played, so I'm not going to call it bad, but I'm only going to say it's okay because there's a lot of
bones are there.
There are things that are interesting about this game. I think these things there. We only talked at the beginning. I have no issue with the dialogue in this game. I think the dialogue in this game is fine. I think it, for the most part, it sets up Frey differently from any type of character in that she's an isekai character who doesn't act like she's in a Joss Whedon thing, but acts like a realistic person would act in this situation. So yeah, if a character is going to come up to you and starts talking about the grand destiny of reality and things, she's going to be like, "This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why are you talking about this?"
Right.
Like the clip that everyone is sharing to talk about how bad this dialogue is one of my favorite bits of dialogue. Is that when your partner Cuff starts talking in this like deeply sinister British accent, and then she makes fun of his accent, and he's like, "Why are you making fun of my accent? You sound like this." And he does her accent, and it's like it's a fun sequence. Like I generally love the dialogue in this game. I think I like Ella Balinski as an actress. I think she's doing a fine job of what she's been given. I haven't hit the wall where I need to turn the Cuff off or things like that. I think some of the interactions are actually really funny. Like if I leave my character idle for like 5 minutes and then start moving, I've found 2 or 3 bespoke dialogue sequences of the Cuff reacting. So you were just doing nothing for like 30 minutes, right? I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I'm like, yeah, these are good. We are definitely not getting Forspoken 2. I pray for Luminous Productions to that they remain a studio. Remain a studio within Square. But yeah.
I hope she still gets work because apparently Resident Evil and Charlie's Angels did poorly too.
Yeah, Resident Evil did not do well at all. So before we talk about the last game, which is Dead Space remake, um, what are y'all feelings on this game in relation to Final Fantasy 16? I
Ah,
my being optimistic, I want to say all of the creative talent was pulled out of this to go and foster the egg of Final Fantasy 16. My the other side of me is very worried for Final Fantasy 16, but I don't want to be. I don't want to be that like hypercritical on Final Fantasy 16 based off of what's happening with Forspoken because Square is big. Square is going to make sure their cash cow is secure. And I don't, it doesn't seem like they plan on Forspoken being their cash cow.
yeah. Hey, it could be worse. It could be Skull and Bones.
You're right. It could be Skull and Bones. Right now, there's nothing worse than that. Oh my gosh. Um. Okay. Yeah. The last thing would be. Or are you gonna say something? Or Jordan?
No.
Okay. Jordan? No, nothing. Okay. Avery. Dead Space remake. You played Dead Space remake. Oh.
Yeah, dude. He tried his best. He tried to warn you, but you still got on the train. You're going to fucking Singapore, bro.
You should know. You should know. I didn't look at the doc because I was preparing Dead
Not
Space
even
on the
it's not
thing.
even the doc. I put it in the I put it in two different aspects. The doc and the chat.
Oh, my chat is weird. It doesn't show. Like that one time where it showed and completely embarrassed me on the podcast. I think it got wise and decided, hey, I'm just not gonna do nothing. But
I'm sorry.
yeah, okay. With that being said, we'll talk about Dead Space next week. Yeah, so that's the podcast, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for just being you and supporting our channel. And you can do that by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell. You can also join our Discord by, oof, almost forgot that link. By going to pressx2start.com/Discord, and that'll take you to exactly where you need to be. With that being said, you be safe, take care, have a great day, play some games. Bye.
Yay.
Which number is this?